Good evening, City Council. My name is Tim Beeman, Interim Assistant Public Works Director, here to discuss Agreement 325-00043 with Carollo Engineering, Inc. for engineering services for Aquifer Storage and Recovery Pilot Well, PW 24107. The recommendation is that City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Carollo Engineering, Inc. for a total amount of not to exceed $859,069.50 from August 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2026 for engineering services for Aquifer Storage and Recovery Pilot Well. A little bit of background, the AWPF was completed back in 2016 with a capacity of 6.25 million gallons per day. In 2017, the ASR well, the pilot ASR well, and its associated monitoring wells were drilled. That's everything below ground. And the design for equipping the civil site work and the mechanical equipment was commenced in 2018. In 2019, the Department of Drinking Water issued a conditional acceptance letter outlining our regulatory parameters for the AWPF, the ASR pilot well, and our indirect potable reuse program. And in 2021, the ASR well and civil and mechanical construction began. We've run into a couple of issues on this project, one being regulatory compliance. So even though we were issued a letter with the conditions set forth, the industry is changing and the state does reserve the right to change some of those parameters. Now, there hasn't been anything completely groundbreaking for what we're doing, but we are having to take additional monitoring levels in order to achieve those new requirements. There was a backflushing plan that was missing from the final design that was put out for bid. So these injection wells go through a backflush process. So over a certain period of time, it's purely injection, and over certain intervals, what we'll do is surge the well. And when we surge the well, that removes any biological growth or debris that's on the side of the well. And then that gets flushed into be disposed. And this helps with maintaining the screens and making sure that we're getting the optimum amount of water back into the aquifer. We also had to deal with construction through COVID. Like many of our projects, electrical and mechanical equipment have had very long lead times. And since we started this project right in the middle of the pandemic, that has been an issue throughout. Also site conditions. So because this is the location of the old high school, we ran into a number of underground utilities that were not marked, including water lines, old heating oil lines, and the like. We also have concurrent projects going on. We also, we have the campus park project going on and making sure that we're doing coordination with them. And then there were additional components missing from the original design. So during the construction, the contractor submitted a request for information to identify some of these components that were needed to complete the startup and commissioning of the well. They included the water service, the SCADA system, the O&M manuals and standard operating procedures, operation and optimization plan, as-built drawings, documentation and specification support for the recycled water backbone pipeline flushing, and the ASR well facility startup testing. To touch back on the backbone flushing, what that is the western portion of our recycled water system does have a minimal amount of flow that goes through it. And so prior to injecting into the ASR well, we do want to flush that system and make sure that the optimal water quality is what we are injecting into the ground. On April 29th, 2024, we released an RFP, PW 24107, for engineering services for the Aquifer Storage and Recovery Pilot Well. The proposals were due on May 23rd. We only received one proposal, and that was from Carollo. And the proposal was reviewed by the water operations manager, a senior civil engineer, and myself, the interim assistant director of public works. Based on the available information and the research performed, we do believe that Carollo is capable of satisfactorily performing the scope of work, and it should also be noted that Carollo was not the original designer for the ASR well. The financial impact is the total amount of the agreement 325-00043 with Carollo shall not exceed $859,069.50, and it is included in the fiscal year 25 through 29 capital improvement program and the fiscal year 24-25 adopt budget from the Water Resources Development Impact Fees Fund 603 and also corresponding Water Capital Fund 602 in Project C 2021. And this concludes the presentation.